Accept your death.
I was at a show recently for work, and there were two guys there, and they were talking. And one of them's in his mid 40s, and the other guy's a couple years younger than me. And they're talking about kids. You know, they both have like two under two kind of a thing, and they're talking about diapers and what brands of diapers are good, and they're really getting into it. Like this topic is like, these are crap. They fell apart on me when right away, and they don't kind of band up properly or whatever. And I'm sitting here listening to this conversation. I'm just kind of giggling, and he looks over at me and he's like, "What's so funny?" And I was like, "It's just weird seeing people that are older than me have conversations that I was having like 15 years ago."
Right.
It's just kind of
You're an early bloomer.
Yeah. I had the old Boston Dragon when I was just a fresh 21-year-old kid, and I tell you, man, having two kids under two in your 40s, no thanks. Like if I had to do that right now, I just would not have the energy to keep up. That's crazy to me, but
And you risk being one of those old dads, when at high school graduation, the people's parents that look like their grandparents or whatever.
Yeah, show up in a walker, like, so.
I actually had a friend when I was younger who was convinced that his parents were actually his grandparents, and who he grew up believing was his big sister was actually his mom.
That's actually wild.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's happened before, somewhere, somehow.
Oh, yeah.
No, but not out of the realm of possibility with all the craziness that goes on.
Especially out in these parts.
Yeah, out in those parts.
There's all sorts of ways to feel guilty about things and force those sorts of situations.
I mean, yeah, that's true. But I'm hoping that people won't force me to feel guilty about missing their comments this week.
Hey, way to brighten the mood there.
That was top tier. That was a top tier transition. I'm 8 out of 10 for sure, or something like that. I don't know. All right, first comment we're getting into here, Blue Raz Rush. I refuse to read this in the way that he wants me to read it, so I'm just going to read it. Somewhere out there, someone loves Shang with the cat ears and calls him their whittle kitty, meow, meow, boo, and I think that's a precious thing. And then Hater wasted no response. That person is you, isn't it? And I think we all know that person was Blue and will continue to be.
Yeah.
Blue.
I think he was bringing unnecessary attention to himself.
I agree.
Like the self-reveal.
The self-reveal. Outing yourself, man. Come on now. No, thanks for the comment, though. Appreciate you. Always good to see Blue. Next comment here from Rattlehead. Cyrax is fine. Had a feeling people would start asking for this character to receive the hammer. Anyway, appreciate the shout-out. And yes, work directly with NRS to implement all of those accessibility features. A dream come true. Going into the studio and working with the lead audio director. What an experience that must have been. It would have been so cool to see like how they go through and like kind of what's necessary. Like, do they just sit down and say, okay, what are some things that you need? Or do they say, okay, like play test this. Does this have all the options that you have? That would be such a cool process to be a part of and to just kind of see. So it's cool they're reaching into the community for that kind of thing.
I agree. I absolutely agree. And on the Cyrex comment, I don't know. What do you think? I don't think that she's game breaking, but I think she's annoying.
I think she's like super duper strong is what she does, and I think that we're gonna get into that actually because we're gonna do a fun little list today. So I'm gonna save those thoughts for when we get there. But
okay,
Rattlehead may or may not agree with my thoughts on that, so we'll see. Last comment here, Janissary. Really rad to see all the accessibility options mentioned. I produced the audio description and had loads of fun describing the story mode, fatal blows, and super moves for blind players. Check them out if you get the chance. There's also an all-blind tournament called the Sento Showdown. That's super cool that we're getting people that actually worked on the game commenting on the podcast. There was a lot of love from the blind community on that last week's episode. It was super cool. It's just a super cool community, and like seeing it grow in the way that it has. Like I remember that I think the first time I ever saw Rattlehead was Evo 2012, I think. And then that was the only blind player that I was aware of at that time. And now there's a whole community. They've all come together. It's I don't know. I think it's super cool. That was a thing that was able to be birthed, you know?
Right, right. And what the commenter was saying, I haven't gone through any of those. The audio description things, that sounds like it would actually be really challenging to try to put everything you see into words, like some sort of like trying to, it's like it's beyond trying to explain to somebody how to tie like a double Windsor knot necktie just over the phone without showing them, just by like verbal explanation. Because you want it to be artistic and you want it to be, I don't know. I want to check it out.
Yeah, me too. Maybe I'll do that for a video. Just kind of check them all out and see how it changes things. And
Oh, that's a good idea.
yeah, wouldn't be. I know that they've. I think Rattlehead was saying that they've challenged, people to do it was Mr. Aquaman was talking on the stream about how they did like blindfold tournaments, and then you get, people to put a blindfold on and try playing with I don't know if they had the accessibility options on or not. I'm assuming they did, but I think that'd be a cool idea just to kind of try and see how you could maneuver that, So maybe that's an idea for another time, Could be.
Right.
But that being said, we have a hefty topic on our hands today. We are making a tier list, which we do every so often on this podcast. So shouldn't be a surprise that we figured with the last update, all the hot fixes and things that happened, and T1000 coming out, we're not really sure what's happening with the next update. Thought this would be a good time to kind of stop and just put things in a fun little order. Nothing super crazy, nothing super set in stone. We're doing it a little bit differently this time. This is actually Hater's idea, so I'm excited to try it out. So we're going to group them.
It's not an original idea by any means, but
yeah, it's Hater's idea to try this idea that was not Hater's idea. All right.
Right. Hey, thank you for clarifying. I don't want any hate.
Yeah, Hater claims to come up with this format that's been around for years.
This idiot over here doesn't realize it. Yeah.
Yeah, like that guy that's coming up with you with day one tech for a character he just picked up that you've been playing for a year. It's like, come on.
Right.
Come on now, man. But yeah, so we're doing it in a top 5 and a bottom 5, top 15, and a top 30. So just kind of, again, nothing superficial, like, who are we kind of thing. It's just a fun thing for what we've seen from watching events. I watch a lot of the Pro Komp series, as does Hater. Hater watches a lot of rips, kind of sees all kinds of things. So, yeah. That being said, are you ready to get into this, Hater?
Sure. I'm going to leave it mostly on you because you're playing way more than I am. So I'm going to let you take charge here.
All right. Well, for those that...
And we don't need to go in alphabetical order, right? Just whoever you want to talk about.
Well, you know what? Why don't we start with Cyrax then? I was just going to go in alphabetical order, but you're right. Why don't we start with Cyrax? I think that Cyrax is a top 5 character. Now, my reasoning for this is that her game plan is very, very effective against pretty much all the cast. Like, it's just set play, it's just mix. And then we saw Sonic with like layers of mix, like a guess into a guess. Into hope you know how to get out of this setup.
Sonic said you outplay your opponent one time, and then you just deprave them of meter like incessantly, and it just is a huge snowball.
Yeah, and that's what we saw. And don't, if people are going to throw up the alarms or whatever, I honestly think that Cyrax is fine. I think it's the pairing of Cyrax and Serena that makes her a little scary. With the double meter drain kind of going on. Outside of that, I think she's totally fine. The things she does, the combo, her damage isn't the greatest, but she just has one particular game plan. And I think when you're making tier lists, especially for assist games, you kind of have to take into account their best assist, I would think. I don't know if that sounds like what everybody else was doing. So
I feel like that's a good baseline, and it's definitely not for everybody. This is she's a really good example of like when you play her, it's a lot of fun, but she's the exact opposite of that to fight against. But she's not like release Homelander or release Peacemaker game breaking, where it was kind of like, okay, what are we doing here for real?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's it's I don't know, just strong being strong, forcing you to guess. Not much else to go over there. I'm kind of looking at the roster here. I'm kind of going to go through them as like I think that where they fit, kind of thing. The next one I'm going to go with, and I'm pretty certain about my pick here is Baraka. I'm going to put him in a bottom 5. I feel like the Fatal Blow like buff was like something, but you already have to be in Fatal Blow territory to actually use it. And to be honest, I've seen more videos of Baraka's doing a hype combo and killing themselves by the damage over time than actually winning the match.
I think Baraka kind of falls off hard. He's very, very strong, but he has diminishing returns as you play higher level gameplay.
Yeah, I would agree.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think he also is one of those characters that kind of, he's stuck to only certain cameos. So, like, if you want to use him in any sort of competitive way, there's like 2 or 3 cameos that you have to use.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of cameo synergy. I agree.
It's just his combo pathing is way too weird for a lot of the stuff. So that's, I think he doesn't really play the game well. He doesn't have any sort of crazy strategy, you know, like blade charge into Kano knives or something like that. But like, I don't know. He feels pretty weak to me so far. So. Which kind of leads me into another character that I want to I think I'm going to get a little bit of your feedback because you know a little bit more about this than me, but Tanya, I also think belongs in bottom 5. I think it's not by very much. She might be like one of the better ones in bottom 5, but I don't really see those buffs kind of helping her as much as maybe they needed to, if that makes sense. Like she gets a little bit more combo pass, a little bit more damage, but she's still like, I think it was Sparks that posted a video of a couple Tanya combos, and they're still, like, not doing a lot of damage for quite a bit of effort. So, I don't...
Right. I think that's a fair place to at least start, right? This is not, like, set in stone as we talk about it more. Like, things may get, like, shuffled around, but I think that's definitely a good starting point for her.
Yeah, and as the conversations go around, maybe I'm like, well, actually, now that I think about it, this character's kind of weak, and blah, 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 and maybe Tanya can move up, and, you know, we might juggle this around a little bit, and then feel free, as always, to leave comments about the characters that you play down below and let us know what you think. You know, make it a kind of a community. We'll call it the community tier list. How does that go? And then maybe we'll go through some comments next week and maybe try and just build a fake one and just look over it real quick with all the comments and all that kind of stuff.
There's always the guy who's like main training partner, his friend that he grinds with the most, talks about one of these characters that we think is like lower or whatever, but he's always getting bodied by his friend, so he's like really salty about it. Like, no, she's fine, right?
Yeah, there's always going to be those, and we're ready for them. So yeah, we're ready for you. So I'm just looking through here. One I'm going to put up is I think Smoke is in top 15 now. Like he definitely needed a little bit of help, but man, like his cancels are still crazy. I know that they'll say, hey, he doesn't have a mid, but he cancels off everything. We saw Just Nasty doing some crazy stuff at Texas Showdown. Yeah, and getting top 8 there. So, and
as purely a spectator, Smoke might be my favorite character in the game.
He's
after
really
Texas
fun.
Showdown, just seeing all those buffs and stuff in action and the way it all kind of like can go together and how much, like when we talk about player expression, with characters, which was like a big complaint because it was so absent, like MK11. I think that Smoke is definitely one of those player expression characters for sure.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. He's super flashy, fun to watch, not fun at all to fight against. But the thing is, like, he's kind of like Katana, where there's counterplay, but there's like levels of counterplay. Like, yeah, you could up block, but they might also do this or that could counter that, or you know, you just have to make the right. You could poke, but they could also do this and that. Commit to the
right. It's a big timing thing, right? Their counterplay is about timing, choosing your moment, and they are good at like getting you to mash into like their advantage, and then they keep their turn or get their combo or whatever,
steal it back. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So yeah, I think Smoke's floating around in the top 15. Whereabouts? Not really sure. Maybe we'll try and order it a little bit as time goes on. The next one I want to
we got to talk about the elephant in the room. Sorry to cut you off there, but you can't leave everyone hanging about old Quan Chi here. Where do you think he lives? I don't think it'll be a surprise, but let's just get it over with.
Okay, I think Quan Chi's in the bottom 5. Yeah, that's
what?
Yeah,
really?
Well, surprising absolutely no one. I feel like the buffs they gave him were interesting. Like, he now has kind of a combo starter off his forward to mid, which is not a change I ever would have really thought to give him. And I'm still kind of not sure how to use it. I'm still figuring out. Having a good combo starting mid is not bad. But I mean, he always could do that with Shujinko, to be fair. So this is just universal, which is nice. I think the Bone Dome damage over time is also nice. It'd be nicer if it like suctioned life from them, because we've talked about this before on the podcast about how he's the only 900 health character that doesn't have a way to get his health back. So I think if they implemented that and kind of that damage that he's taking from the Bone Dome, he's actually getting back, would be a way to offset it. Because I still don't understand why he's a 900 health character. It makes no sense to me. I don't know what he's doing outside of armor, I guess, that makes him that threatening.
I think that's why they wanted. I think this was their idea, and I don't think it worked out how they intended it to work out. Like something they probably couldn't have known with the time that they had, and you never know, like once it gets out into the masses and how the meta is going to shake out. But it was like very clear that they wanted characters like Shao Kahn and Havoc to be using their armored moves. You still take the damage, you're just not hit out of it, and you can like beat things too. Right. And both of them, they're launchers as long as the armor doesn't absorb the hit, and they have that extra little buffer. It's like Street Fighter, to where the characters that are going to be taking more hits while trying to apply their game plan are given the grace of like some of that extra health. And I think they were thinking the inverse for Quan. He's got all this armor and he's going to be using a lot. And then it's just a matter of like the way he can still turns with that and bait people into pushing. But it relies a lot on like the temperament of like your opponent. And, against, he's not the scariest character. Like I struggle against that armor portal. Like people that go crazy with it, like in the neutral, right? They're really trying to lock me down with like standing 4, and I have really bad reads on when I'm going to duck it and stuff. So I get tagged by that. And then armor portals, or they snake in. I see you've been doing in recent videos, like you sneak in like a wake up EX portal or something, and even when they punish that, you drop out of it because you're armored, and then you get your MK11 breakaway punish.
Breakaway combo, yeah.
I just don't think it works in the overall game overall. Like I kind of see what they're going for with armor in particular, like I just rambled about, but I don't know. What do you think?
No, you hit the nail on the head there. Like it's completely counterintuitive to how fighting games should be played, and which is fine. Like that's the character, right? He's Quan Chi. He's manipulating things. It's kind of what he does, and I like the idea, but I feel like in practice it just doesn't work. But we'll see. I mean, maybe there are other characters that later on, conversation goes on, and maybe we move Quan Chi up a little bit. Who knows? I noticed that he's kind of sitting in like the top 30 tier in other people's tier lists that I've seen. Other people kind of have him in the bottom. So it's he's definitely on the lower end of things, I will say.
And I think any character can win, right? Like there's definitely like a player aspect to this. You're not, relegated to the depths of losers bracket forever, depending on like your that's not dependent on your character choice. I think that any character can win. Some have to work way harder. That's kind of like going to be represented here at the bottom.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that kind of speaks to the balance of the game. How every character is viable, and they all have a cameo that can help them win. So I think it's when you're balancing 35 characters and all these cameos, that's pretty impressive in my head, anyways. So next one is T1000 that I want to go over. And right out of the gate, everyone was like, this is like the most broke character in this game. Like he's got everything, he does everything, blah blah blah. And then there was a hotfix, and it kind of nerfed him a little. There was some things he was doing that. Now I haven't actually went to check this, but somebody said that his like super fast like a reversal attack was
Yep.
nerfed, kind of gutted almost, I think was the term I saw.
Yeah, it's negative 29 now, and I don't think it did. It used to be like a double low. It's a mid low, I think now, or something mid. I don't know. I didn't go into it too much, but he fell off hard. You don't really see
You don't see him at
a
all.
whole lot of those like sticking around. You see some people, they're calling them the T500 now.
T500. Got a little.
He got a little nerfed. A lot of the frames on his stuff is little puddle dive, his little EX dive, where he can kind of like cross you up under the ground and stuff like that. And it's like, that's reactable, and that's like more negative now. And they took away the hit advantage and cancel advantage that was obviously like seemed bugged. It was like way too high off his standing 2/4 string.
Oh yeah, that was creating crazy combos.
So yeah, he's been just like normalized a bit, and as you see happen, and
he's still got
other
good tools.
Characters, like, what's that?
He's still got good tools though, and
no, he does, and he's still fun, right? Like he's as long as the fun that you were looking for wasn't in that standing 2/4 string, or just taking your free Movado hits all day off of that other ground spike thing.
Yeah, no, I don't know enough about him because I haven't played him since he was insanely busted, and even then, I was playing Sector, and his anti-zoning tools weren't as like screw your neutral as I kind of thought they were. Especially if you're playing with Shujinko, who can just shoot him right out of his little metal walk with his own gun move, which is pretty funny. But like that's just the Shujinko way. If you're a DLC character, Shujinko's probably a hard counter for you. So outside of
they really went crazy with Shujinko and the DLC characters in particular, didn't they?
They really did. Like the only one that really feels like that insignificant is Conan. Other than that, all the other ones are like, I mean, Sector's kind of like meh, but still, I mean.
Is anybody on the base roster, not to derail this too much, but is there anybody on the base roster that you think is on the level of DLC characters as far as Shujinko steals?
Oh, that's a really good question, actually. I would say, I mean, Kenshi's the obvious one that stands out to me, because stealing Sento is kind of nuts. And you can combo into that, well, not combo into it, but you get free pressure if you call it off the APEP punch. So if you have any sort of character that can restand, like Sindel, you restand into APEP punch Sento, and then you get free pressure started. It's actually kind of nuts. Havoc's another one. Steals a launcher, steals a slow-moving projectile, and he steals the torso spin, which is +4 on block. I could go into that. See, we need to make a Shujinko steal tier list again, I feel like. Now that all the roster's complete, that could be a fun one.
So where are you putting old T1000 then?
I'm going to put him in top 15 for now, because like thinking about his toolkit, I think it's still like decent. He's definitely not top 5 anymore. But again, he could slip down to top 30, if given how this conversation goes.
I think that's where he'll end up. On the subject of nerfed characters, let's talk about Sindel next.
Yeah,
she's fallen off as well. It's crazy just what 2 little changes will do.
Yeah, so her forward 1 is now like high, mid, I think. And then, what was the second one? Second change that she got?
950 health.
Right, health.
That is something people do not like. If you want to turn people off of a character, like what they did to Peacemaker, and, well, I guess Johnny players are still living with it, but he's not in many top 5 discussions and stuff anymore. We'll talk about him later.
Yeah, I think like even last night when I was playing and I was doing my striker run with Quan Chi, which someone commented like, "Why don't you use the grenades?" And I was trying to use the stuff that you never see, because I was like, "Why everybody uses grenades? I'm not going to just go and use the same thing that everyone else."
I was thinking about that the whole time. Like it's his best move. Like why not use it? Like it's silly not to, because it's the best thing that he brings to the table.
Yeah, I wanted to play around with the other stuff. Like I knew how the grenades work. I still think that's a crap matchup. I mean, as soon as I saw 850 health, I was like, this character does not give me enough to warrant 850 health.
They look so stupid together, too.
They do.
God, what a dumbass-looking team. Oh, get that shit off my screen.
Yeah, so I probably won't be playing that again. But anyways, yeah, health is a big factor. So, but Sindel, we're seeing a lot more with Tremor now. Tremor's eating good. So, I mean, she's still getting 1050 with that pairing and still doing, like, kind of the crazy mix stuff. So
I think with the power creep So some characters like stayed the same and then they get power crept up on, and like what we used to consider as S tier is now kind of like low A tier and stuff. Like I think that we haven't talked about it yet, but Asha's kind of like a good example of that. And it'll have the opposite effect as well. So Sindel got like, direct hit, she got focused fired. Dude, I was watching Rips earlier, and he's like, "I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I'm kind of excited to see someone pick Sindel because you haven't seen her since. Like, and
Right.
nobody's. So I don't think that. Well, I don't know. You think she's still top 5?
No, I definitely don't. I think she's
Okay.
I'd say she's in the top 15. She's about
Yeah.
probably like, she's high though, like probably top 10, like 6 or 7, somewhere in there probably. Like she didn't drop off that much, but there's just reasons to use other characters that you wouldn't really use her in, if that makes sense. Like why use her when you can use somebody else? Real quick, Homelander, I still think is in the top 5. I think he is a perfectly fine top 5 character. He is very annoying. There's lots of counterplay to him. I think that they kind of took away a lot of the stuff that made him so obnoxious to begin with, and I think he's in a good place now. Especially with Farah, because it's a lot of strike throw, floating shenanigans.
A strong, oppressive character, but with clear weaknesses and counterplay.
You can kill yourself super fast if you don't know what you're doing with Homelander. So it's, the good. I've seen it myself time and time again in Combat League. The ones that'll just try and instant float into jump punch and then full combo like all the time. So yeah, you need to know your stuff with this character and the intricacies in order to make him work, which is why I think he's so effective when he does, and he can be super safe and super annoying. So yeah, and good damage too. Damage, like he can hit up to 400 pretty easy off most hits. So I think that's a fair opinion on that. Where should we go from here?
Let's talk about Ashra since she came up just a minute ago.
Yeah, I actually played against her last night, and I was getting infuriated because I can't keep her pinned down, and that's what Quan Chi wants to do. He wants to pin you down, keep you in one place. His owner is what he wants to do, and you can't do that with her. And she was just bouncing all over the place, and especially with like the demon stance teleport where she doesn't have to commit to the hit. That's super
Hell
annoying.
mode.
Hell mode, yeah, that's
the fun stuff.
That's super annoying. I think she's in the top 15 for sure. I don't think she's top 5. I think that her tools are perfectly average. I think that.
Yeah, I would say she's living in top 15, probably like the bottom end of that. The way I've seen most people like talking about her. We'll see how this shakes out. She's obviously like super strong.
Yeah.
But man, I'm gonna get roasted for this, right? But am I gonna get roasted if I call her an honest character? Do you think she's honest?
I'd say she's honest.
Do you think that she's too honest in some ways?
Not too honest. I'd say that she's probably fine. Like she's got counterplay, but a good Ashra can play around it. Like
she's got flash parries. She's got like the best armor in the game, right?
Oh, easily.
That can be flash parries, gets her out of situations and setups that nobody else like. That's so much privilege, and just the biggest buttons. Full screen combos with Serena. Full combos with Serena. Not just little mini ones.
You think that's her best cameo, Serena? I know you've played around with her a little bit.
I don't know if she's definitely up there. I'm no authority on Ashra or Serena, but I would say they have to be up there. And I think that's one of, just if we're talking about Serena in general, that's one of Serena's highest energy teams. Definitely before her buff. Now that she's bringing other things, other tools to the table, I'm not sure how that shakes out, but I feel like Ashra Chameleon, Ashra, Serena. Like I see
Ashra
lots of people
Movado?
putting in work with. Yeah, Ashra Movado, super good.
Okay. Sorry to cut you off there.
Nope, it's all good.
I think I want to put my first character in the top 30 right now, that I'm thinking of, and I believe that is going to be Rain. But he's going to be at the top of like top 30. Because like he's pretty good, but he just like he has some glaring weaknesses, if that makes sense. Like he, even though he has that bubble, I find him still pretty easy to like zone out. His movement's kind of janky. Damage is good. And I think he kind of suffers in the cameo, similar to Baraka, where he's kind of like kind of hunkered down to 2 or 3 cameos to make him work. So he did get that jump attack buff, which was nice.
Yeah.
But I just don't see them, and the Reigns that I see, they have to work so hard to get a victory. So, I'm like I said, I don't think he's bad by any. I don't think any character in this game is bad, but I think that he's just, when I think of the top 15 and the top 5, he's just not in that same level.
He's another character that just plays the game okay. Like they had this archetype in mind for him, the kind of the mid screen zoner or the slower zoner, kind of like with his little puddle setups and the teleportation. That, man, you figured that would be like a staple of his game plan if it was like a super tight character kit or whatever. But I don't know how often you see him teleporting around, like successfully.
Yeah, not that much.
And he is a skill floor character. I have to say, Rain is one of those characters that goes from the most unintimidating thing ever to super oppressive, depending on like who's playing them. You can say that obviously about like every character, but he like really exemplifies it. He definitely has a skill floor.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely agree. Yeah. It takes a lot to get good with them, and similar to Homelander, you can kill yourself pretty quick if you're not using them correctly.
Bad cancels and things, yeah.
Yep, exactly. Not moving in properly, so I'm all right with him in the top 30 category. To kind of mix things up a little bit, I'm going to put General Shao as a top 5 character right now. I think that buff that they gave him, his new move, like that's more safe mix, sometimes
top
plus.
5?
I don't know, top 5. Yeah, that's, in my eyes, when I saw, Dialogue doing it, Texas Showdown, that's like not quite Cyrax levels of mid. I will say that like he does get zoned out a little bit, but I don't think he really struggles that much. He's got pretty huge buttons that cover a lot of area. So I don't know, maybe that's a controversial take. Maybe that'll change by the time we get to the end of this conversation when I find somebody else I want to put in the top 5.
Right.
Like Garrus. I'm just kidding. I'm not putting Garrus. I'm not putting Garrus in top 5. Get out of here.
Where are you putting Garrus?
That's a tough one because like Gur makes him look so good, but and he has good tools, but like it's like Gur's such a good character and character loyalist. Like I almost want to put him in the top 30. Like when you look at the tools the other characters have, like he's forced to play at 850 health with Motaro if you're going to make him work. And then you have to have really good meter management to make sure that you always have those bars ready. Like he's a lot of work, but he can compete. But I don't know.
But he just shits damage. Oh my god, when he gets his hand on you, you saw what Gur was just doing with back 4 and forward 4, just the overhead and the low. Just absolutely obliterating life bars with only just controlling neutral with like those 2 buttons.
And safe on block, both of them.
I feel like he has decent counterplay to like his reverse time and things like that, and we saw it could be nullified by sub, but man, he just ridiculous damage, ridiculous setups. Motaro, Kung Lao, Serena all keep his combo starting, multi-hitting low, completely safe, and allow him to recover to continue the combo if it happens to hit. So it's a really good OS. But I feel like he's got to work, He has really good tools, but he's definitely like working for it. He might get shuffled around. I'm not sure where to put him right now.
Yeah, I'm going to put him in the top 15 for now. I see my mind changing on that the more characters we put in here, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. That's I in my heart kind of feels more top 30, but we'll see where the rest of the conversation goes, and we'll kind of move things.
Let's round out the top 5 here.
So the other character I have in the top 5 is Havoc. I still think super solid. Plays game really well. There's a lot of little setups, that kind of a thing.
I think that's really obvious. Yeah.
Yeah. There's
still,
and then the final top 5 character. Man, this is going to be a tough one for me. I think this is where I'm going to kind of make a mistake, and someone's going to call me out for it in the comments. But
it's malleable. We can shuffle things around.
Yeah. For now, I think I'm going to go Ghostface.
Really?
Like the mix.
Everyone is crying in Noob Saibot right now.
I just don't see Noob Saibot like at all in tournaments. Like at high level, he kind of seems to fall off, or people just aren't using them or anything. I don't know what's going on with that.
I see everyone have him so high. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about like Noob does a similar thing to Ghostface, but Ghostface can like hit confirm into this stuff, and he has a restand, which he can mix again, and then different stances to avoid damage. I will say I think he's hard countered by Shujinko. Obviously, I'm a little biased on that, but you've played against Shujinko before. You see the ridiculousness he can do against Ghostface, but I don't know.
Yeah, he's annoying, and his I feel like one of his biggest weaknesses is that he doesn't have air presence like a lot of characters do. Right? He obviously has like jump ins and stuff. He has as much air presence as like Johnny Cage does. Dude, when I was playing him, that's like the one thing I really was missing was just something I could do in the air to like kind of mess with my trajectory or try to catch something that like so many other characters I play have that sort of stuff. I feel like that's kind of like a staple for characters I want to play, and I didn't even realize it until I was playing Ghostface, and I was like, oh man. Anyway,
I mean, doesn't he have an air knife in the assassin variation?
Oh, he does. Only in an assassin.
Yeah, so you have to do that one.
I don't play an optimal team, right? I don't really play in like the costumes. I just do Serena, and I just use all my bar on mid command grabs. I play just big buttons and mid command grabs, and I get the extra damage. And all my bar back I just spent on the command grab. Just and if you're left in another mix, and I'll just do that over and over again.
Right.
One grab at a time, baby.
One grab at a time. You grab, overhead, low. Playing against Ghostface Movado.
5?
Ghostface Movado, you could hit confirm off anything into full combo, into restand, into guess again, bro. I don't know, man. Kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But
Movado's annoying. That's Movado doing Movado things.
When I'm looking at the characters that are left for that 5th spot, for me, it's Noob Saibot, Ghostface, and Ermac are the 3 that I'm thinking like could be flirting with that spot. Which means that by design, I have to put Ermac and Noob in the top 15. At least. So
yeah, let's pretend to order it. It may not be a firm order, but yeah, definitely bump them up towards the front of there if that's where they're gonna live.
Yeah, they're there.
Sindel can probably live up there as well. Oshra and Geras towards the end.
Yeah, maybe
T1000. I don't know.
Well, since we've rounded out the top 5, let's round out the bottom 5 as well.
Okay.
I think Conan's down there.
I was just gonna say, yeah. Well, is it gonna be a hot take? We'll say Conan because
I mean, again, glaring weakness. He gets zoned out super easily. It's by design, but I mean, the zoners in this game have easy ways to go around that. Like Quan, push away portal, Bone Dome. He tries to do his little charge in. Both of them will hit them. Sector can just like come out of her air missiles and just standing 3 from like full screen and just knock them right back there again. So I mean,
it's hard to feel bad for a character that's got buttons that are that big though. That standing 2 or whatever, is that a standing 1 or standing 2? That just goes like quarter screen.
Yeah, standing 2 I think is actually nuts, and that's where he is kind of, that's his thing. He's got big buttons. He swings. He does good damage when he hits you. But again, similar like I said earlier, he's got certain cameos he needs to work with or certain game plans, and then he has that glaring weakness of being zoned out pretty easily. So, I don't know. Change my mind. Something like that.
Right.
Then I gotta say the other one, which I don't think is much of a hot take, but I think it's Omni-Man. He's just not that scary. He does good damage when he hits you, and like he has decent movement around the screen and stuff. But talk about a character that needs certain situations in order to make things work, and like no real true mix. Like he's got the 1-2, I think it is, or 2-1 with the overhead, and then his sweep, which I think they changed his sweep. They gave him a little buff on their sweep that he doesn't need to commit to that second hit of it anymore. I think maybe it was sweep.
Of all the guest characters, he's definitely the weakest, isn't he? Well, you think he's weaker than Cohen? Or about on par?
I would no. Like if I were to order this, I'd probably have like Quan Chi there. I'd have Omni-Man second. He does do good damage. And then Baraka.
You think Quan Chi's better than Omni-Man?
I do. Yeah, I
Okay.
do. That's just my opinion. I think Quan does more things. Omni-Man is pretty linear. Quan has a lot of tools. It's just hard to make them all work together. I think I was saying that to you the other day. There's a lot of things that getting them all to mesh together can be difficult sometimes. Whereas Omni-Man's pretty straightforward. Try and teleport and hit you. Do big damage.
He's definitely more of like a brawler. If Quan's a zoner, then Omni-Man's like a brawler.
Definitely.
And they totally, he looks like it too, right? The way he be swinging around like that. Oh my gosh.
He be
Looks cool.
swinging. Looks cool. Looks cool for sure. I agree. Okay, so now let's work on the top 15. So we have 3, 6, 7. So there's room for 3 more here. I think Natara is an easy pick. I think she's kind of calmed down from, when she initially got some changes and everyone's like, oh, she's so crazy, top 5 for sure, blah, 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 blah. And then once people kind of got used to her, it's kind of like, okay, not quite as scary. I would probably put her kind of above Smoke.
She kind of got power crept up on as well, right? She got that first round of buffs that put her top tier, but the stronger other characters started getting around her, and she hasn't received anything since. Is definitely kind of like moved her down. You think that the Katana Molina sisters also belong there? They could probably. They're definitely better than Geras and T1000.
I mean, that's true. That is true. Yeah. Let's
move those two down
those two
and
chuckleheads
the
down.
sisters up there, and then.
So now we have
so
2 left, 2 spots left.
This is where things are going to shuffle around, right? If we have fixed numbers for these tiers, so where do you think? So we need to start talking about other characters that are clearly in top tier discussions, like real obvious ones that have been around since the beginning, like
Johnny Cage.
Johnny Cage.
He's in the top 10 for sure, or top 15 for sure. I don't think anyone would question that at all. He's super solid in what he does. He might not be the most exciting character to play. Some of his hype combos are cool. The Mike Metroid and Compy do. Those are pretty cool. But
okay.
And then I think Sector as well. Just kind of.
I think a lot of people would put her top 5 more than Ghostface. Swap Ghostface out for her. Come on now. I know you're a Sector main.
Yeah, I don't think she's like what would make her top 5. She's got an armored launcher.
She just has a tool for everything.
But so does Ghostface, and with restands.
No, she's got good buttons, and she's got all the zoning. It's not just mine. Like I said, you put her wherever you want. You're in charge here. I'm a little crusty at the game right now, but I know she's definitely. I think if you did not put her in top 5, that would be considered a hot take. Is all I'm saying.
I have never shied away from hot takes. So
okay.
I honestly believe that I think Ghostface is higher. That's
okay.
And I'm gonna get shit on, but for everyone else's sake, there you go. She's the top of the top.
Hey, that's fine. This is not like that serious a business.
No.
So people can chill.
We're not picking the next character to win Evo or anything. So.
And we're not trying to influence anything to get anything changed. Not trying to sabotage any characters or downplay anything. Just,
Yeah, we're just having fun and putting characters where they belong. So.
Just an excuse to talk about the game.
Yeah, any excuse to talk about this game I like. So now we have our bottom 5, our top 5, and we've just rounded out our top 15, which means the remaining of these characters are in the top 30. So let's talk about them. Kenshi has always been debated on oh, he's too powerful, he's too strong. Oh, but he's not winning anything. You never see him in top 8s, blah blah blah. Well, they nerfed him. So here he gets. I am totally fine having him in the top 30. When I look at the 15 characters above him, I think that's totally fine where he fits. I haven't honestly even played one since they gave him those nerfs or adjustments, I guess. I know they did some things to bring him up, which kind of tells me he's maybe fallen off. Maybe like diehard Kenshi players are still playing him, but they're not just picking him up because he's like a super oppressive character kind of a thing anymore.
Or because he's like a... Right. Yeah. Like the way that we see with, T1000 and Launch Peacemaker and all that stuff, right? When something's good, they're very, very popular.
Yeah, for sure.
People want to win.
People want to win.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I will never fault somebody for picking top tier or whatever to try and win. So it is what it is. So yeah, that's Kenshi. Kung Lao, I also feel good about having in this top 30 bracket because, like, we did see online Kale use Kung Lao, but man, was he ever outplaying Gur like crazy with that character? Just a little bit of lack of
Yeah.
matchup knowledge and a little bit of like the reads that you can make with this character. But like the little bit that I played with Kung Lao, I found his neutral very frustrating. In a game where a lot of characters have options in that regard, he was just kind of like whiff and dive kick is like your only option. I hope they don't
Well, he has the
advance.
new aero projectile and stuff. You can see how low he can hit that, and he's got the new armored thing. You can kind of spin around and try to bait something and all of that. But bro, I'm sitting here looking at Lee May next, and I was like, how is she not in bottom 5?
Yeah,
That would be as big of a hot take as the other one we were talking about. I would.
So here's the thing. Every time that I put Lee May in bottom 5, I get so much clapback about like she's not bottom 5, she's not a bottom
Okay.
character, blah blah blah. And everyone's just insists that this character is like super duper good. And after playing her, like she has good options. She has that 7-frame reversal that I really don't
Dude,
see
she
anybody
hits
using.
like a truck. Like,
yeah, you're losing half
you
your
want to
health.
play damage character. Jesus Christ. Okay.
Yeah, so I think when I look at what she does compared to the bottom 5, I think I'm okay. She would probably be near the bottom of the top 30 if I'm being honest. But,
Okay.
I'll agree with, you broke me. Everybody, you broke me. I no longer have her in the bottom 5. You happy? Are you
Alright.
happy now? Now, this is what I don't feel good about at all, is Liu Kang in, top 30. Like, it's probably just a Quan Chi thing, to be honest, but, like, he has such control over every portion of the screen. He works good with so many different cameos. He has the best strike throw in the game. Like, it really...
You think Smoke's a stronger character than Liu Kang?
You know what? When I'm thinking of who I was going to take out of that tier, Smoke was the one that I was just looking at.
Yeah, I think he got put in there early and never got shuffled out. I definitely don't think he's that strong, even with his buffs, and I think Liu Kang would be a very good swap out, probably.
Let's do that. I don't feel bad about that at all. Yeah, I think that's totally justified. Liu Kang has all the tools that make a good fighting game character without being super duper broken or anything like that.
He has the very good full screen game and he has the very good up close game, but like in the middle, right? He's got this kind of like the vacuum of space, this very big kind of like dead zone. But man, in the right hands, Jesus, that character is so obnoxious, Holy cow!
Yeah, the strike throw Motaro combos or Kung Lao combos. Ugh, no.
And now he has the mid to try to catch you ducking the high, and things like that, which is
adds to the layers.
It seemed like a clear weakness they wanted to give him, but felt really bad after they did the same thing with Scorpion and then gave him a mid.
Right. Yeah.
That had a gap, and so everyone hated it, and so they took the gap out too. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Okay. That's going to open a can of worms in a couple minutes here, but so Peacemaker next. Top 30. I'm fine with top 30. Peacemakers that I lose to.
Yeah, he's low.
They work just fine. Raiden, top 30. Probably on the higher end of it though, I would say. Really annoying hit confirmable safe stuff that he can do off of his forward 4-3 string, I think it is.
Also hits like a truck.
Decent damage.
High crushing, multi-low, forward advancing string. Yes, very, very good. Easy chip sequence. Not easy, but easy to access.
Yes.
Chip sequences.
Yeah, I played a Raiden Cyrax the other day for the first time in what felt like a year, and that same strategy they were doing at the ECT is still viable. You just don't get it as much, but it's a lot of chip. So,
yeah, it costs the whole bar.
Yeah. Reiko. Now, this is one that I'm not sure about right now because he did get some really nice buffs that I thought were kind of unnecessary. Like, they just keep buffing this character because I think he was just so bland that it's like, can someone please play him? Like, we want to see what this character does. Someone please play him. Like, on paper, I think he should be in the top 15 when I think of all the things he can do. Similar glaring weakness with kind of the getting zoned out, especially since they made him the only character in the game whose projectile trades, which is an odd decision, but they made it. So I don't know. I'm okay putting him in the top 30 for now because I haven't really seen too many, but on paper, he should be near the top of it at least. I don't know what your thoughts are about any of the new stuff that he's gotten.
But he seems to be getting better and better. And you see I don't know if you saw all the Twitter clips of him and Madame Bo and using the drinks that would restand off
Yeah,
of the
that's
can
crazy.
grab combos. You know, he's doing like 650 damage combos or something with Madame Bo. That seems like a bug, not a feature.
Yeah, I don't think they
But,
really intended for that. We'll see if that sticks around, but yeah, so I'm gonna put him there. If you're a Reiko expert, you can let me know if you think he's higher. Maybe he's top 5 for all I know at this point. I have no idea. We'll see what the next round of pro competition stuff brings around. Reptile got some really good quality of life changes in the last one. I don't think it was really enough to put him into the top 15, but it's like he needed some help, and I think he got it. So I think it probably moved him from the bottom of the top 30 to closer to the top of the top 30. Still a decent, viable character with some dirt and some really good neutral. And now that
yeah,
dash is safe.
Tremor's back. Tremor looks like a really good cameo for him. It was kind of before, but Tremor stocks her up, and then Reptile got that little buff, and I think there's some synergy there. The old ground pound and the EX dash, so new combos.
I think you could pick any character in the game and pick Tremor, and you have some sort of synergy at this point in time. But we'll leave the cameos for another day. All right, so this is where I'm going to start. This is where I'm going to start eating my own words here. So we're gonna remember my good buddy Ghostface I was talking about earlier, like how
Yeah.
we're gonna bump him down a little bit here because I kind of forgot about
Yeah,
Scorpion.
because you forgot about Scorpion.
I forgot about Scorpion. Yeah, this tier list has got to be like a a roller coaster of emotions for people, you know.
You're giving somebody a stomach ache right now. They're just yelling back at the screen right now.
But here's where it gets interesting. Because I moved Ghostface down into the top 15, I have to now move somebody out of the top 15 to the top 30.
Yep. So who do you think it is?
When I look at all these characters, this might upset you. I don't know if you'll agree or disagree. It's got to be Melina. I just don't see her.
No way.
I don't see
really?
her. I don't see her on the same level as like these other characters, the things she can do. Like she just, I don't know.
She has to go up front of that tier.
She would be top.
That's where you're gonna put
She
her.
would be top, 100%. Yeah, she would be top. Because yeah, I think the only other character that I think I would be comfortable moving out of this tier at this point would be Ashra, and I don't think that Melina's.
That's who I was gonna say.
Yeah, I don't think Melina's better than Ashra. That's just my opinion. But that being said, I'd probably have Ashra like here and then Melina here. If you want to, argue one and the other, sure. We're kind of splitting hairs at that point. So yeah. So Shang Tsung, top 30. I mean, I don't think you have to work extremely hard and have to have ridiculous game knowledge to play this character at a high level. I think if you have the right knowledge and you make the right plays, he could be a top 5 character. But the accessibility and the way to get him there is just kind of what puts him in the bottom. There's just, it's a lot of work to get that done, if that makes sense. And I feel that tier is kind of, mirroring that, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Sub-Zero, another one in the top 30 I'm fine with. Sub-Zero is really good. Good mids, does everything good, decent damage, good, well, not good mix, but the mix is there, it's viable. And I feel like this position is not enough for Sub-Zero mains to shut up. Like they're still until he's up here with these top 5 characters, this isn't enough. Like your character can't be completely in the middle of the list. You have to be top 5 or else they're screaming for it. So it is what it is. Final character Takeda, I think also probably top in here in the top 30, and I'm okay with that. He has really good movement, really good setups. Kunai and stuff are insanely good. But yeah, definitely when I'm looking at the top 15, I don't think he's really outshines anybody there. There could be some crazy Takeda tech out there. We did see, I think the Twins were playing Takeda in pools. I don't think they actually played him in the finals. I could be wrong about that. So, I mean, they gave him a shot at least, so people are looking at him, but maybe going more for the unfamiliarity factor than anything else. So I don't know. That's kind of my thought there. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
Any other thoughts there, Hater?
Mm, I'm looking at this list here, and I'm glad it's you and not me.
This is 100% my list with your kind of a little bit of influence, not much though. Yeah, probably.
You know, like when you go bowling and they put the little things in the gutters to prevent it from happening. That's all I'm trying to do, right? If I feel like you're maybe a little like, I don't know,
a little too
but I
unhinged.
think that, I mean, fighting games are so layered and complex, and we've just got so many different types of player that are playing a completely different sort of game. Like a tier list for a casual player that doesn't even know what like frame data is, obviously is going to look way different than if we're basing it just off of tournament results, and then basing that off of like, well, obviously, like as a statistics game, we're not going to see every combination of everything played by every potential player and the way that seeding works and all that sort of stuff, right? So just going off tournament results alone, you just can't, because that just happens to be who those characters play. But sometimes it does represent what the meta is, right? Because people are playing strong characters and what they want to win. But that's not always the case and stuff. And so you've got, you know, people that just grind Combat League, their list is probably going to look different, and there's going to be crossover and stuff. So this is just, you know, a moment in time and just a bit of, I'm guessing, like obviously personal bias and preference, but I feel like the broad strokes are the same.
Yeah, I'm just cleaning up this top 30 a little bit just to be a little bit more, trying to be as accurate as I can here with things.
Dude, Shao number 3, huh? You got Shao in top 3. And Cyrax is number 1, numero uno.
No, actually, I'm going to change this around. I think Homelander might be number 1, actually. Cyrax isn't even probably, I'd say probably top 3, just because of what they could do. But then if top 3...
Havoc.
Yeah, Havoc for sure. Scorpion, and then Shao. And then if you really wanted to, you could do this.
You think Shao is stronger than Sector and Noob Saibot? I just can't. I can't.
Yeah, I think.
Okay, we got Sector up there. All right. I twisted your arm.
You did twist my arm. So I still think that. Actually, maybe no. Let's put him there. There's all my hot takes. The amount of people that are going to comment before they even finish listening to this whole thing, like, oh, why'd you be there? Just trust me, if you made it all the way here, I appreciate it. This has been an emotional roller coaster for all of us.
We'll be able to tell, right? The comment that says, why the fuck is Smoke in top 15? I was like, oh, yep.
Listen to the end there, buddy. Let's see. Better than that. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm open to T1000. I have no idea how good / bad he is now. So if you have an opinion on that, that could change things. But I'm happy with everything here. I think that this is all kind of hunky-dory. 3 of the 4 Chaos Reigns characters in the top 5. Well, I guess Havoc wasn't technically a Chaos Reigns. Mind you, they buffed him to the point he could actually play in that patch. So, but yeah, other than that, there we go. There's the entire tier list ordered with Hater there to put the little things on the gutters for me. As you said. Let me know if you know something I don't, if you have some information or whatnot that you want to add to this. And that's going to be it for another week. We'll be back next week. Episode 50, I think. That's crazy. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like because it really helps me out. And subscribe if you haven't because I make new videos almost every single day. Hashtag Bonehawks, all that stuff. And we'll see all you Bonehawks in the next video.
Accept your death.